Hey guys, so today we are answering a subscriber question, and the question in question was, Frederick, is it common for a company to develop a product for a customer and still have that customer be dissatisfied with the results? So let's get into it. Well, yes, it is fairly common that this happens. And the reason why it happens, it's a very tricky thing to answer because there's a range of things that can absolutely happen. So it can be anything from setting the incorrect expectations to having a really poor dialogue with the customer, or having issues with basically understanding their needs and them having an understanding of what is required of them and pushing deadlines and all these sorts of things. But it absolutely happens. I mean, being dissatisfied with the quality of the work of a IT company of some sort, it's a very common thing. It is, because at the end of the day, what you're basically doing when you're writing software for another party is that you are trying to capture basically what it is that they want to have created. And in order for that to be possible, you need to understand them at a level that is much more intimate than you might expect. Because the fact of the matter is that a lot of your customers and clients and stakeholders and so forth, I mean, all they know is kind of the thing that they have in their head. This is kind of what they want, but they don't necessarily know what is entailed in order for that to happen. An example is that a lot of people are, everybody wants to be wants to be fit, right? Everybody wants to have a six-pack, right? But very few people actually understand how much work goes into having something like that. That's the thing that you're kind of fighting here, because it's very easy for a stakeholder to come in and say that, hey, we want these things here. And then they kind of start a process, if you will. And if you're supposed to build that thing, basically, in order for you to measure up to what their mental picture is of what they want, you have to understand them to a point where, well, this is what I've said in a few other videos. The most important thing you can do is to really do your homework before you start working. You need to really set the expectations, because I mean, a customer can be dissatisfied due to everything from you having a bad product that it didn't turn out as beautiful as they wanted it to be, to that, oh, the system is flaky or has a lot of stability issues. They can be dissatisfied that it costs too much. There's tons of reasons why they might be dissatisfied with the work that you provide. Now, the thing that you can do here, and that's something that is very tricky for a beginner, is to have the experience, and this is kind of where a senior comes in. This is where you get a lot of return on investment from being exposed to this sort of stuff throughout the years that you work. Because when you get to talk to enough stakeholders and you truly understand business requirements, if you're just a code monkey, you will never get to this point. But if you have a more holistic understanding of what it is that you do, and you have a good business mindset, and you have an understanding for people, a high EQ, if you will be able to connect all the times that you've had issues and all the risks that you can see between basically what they're asking for and what you have delivered in the past, to understand how to make things easy, how to set the correct expectations with your customer. In other words, informing them, if they want to do something that seems to be like a risk of some sort, or it's going to cause stability issues or things of this nature, or it's unfeasible, or it's going to be very pricey, things of this nature, then you can communicate that very early on. And that is a very, very, very good thing, because one of the best qualities that you can have as a software developer to avoid the situation where you sit down and you try your absolute best to produce something for somebody and they're still unhappy is to make them really, really, really aware of what it is that they are asking for, and set those expectations early on. Because a customer, every single product starts out the exact same way. Every single one, where you have a lot of ambition, you have a lot of hope, and you're most often positive. Everybody's excited about the project, and dreams are flying high and all that good stuff. And it is in those meetings, I mean, you should not try to, don't pour water on the flames, right? But what is important for you is to have a level head and not get too swept away around all the excitement, and really think about, all right, what's the long term here? How is this going to, I mean, because in the beginning you're going to overpromise and you're going to do all these sorts of things, right? That's always what happens because you don't have a full picture. But using your experience with that you have accumulated, you should be able to identify the risk areas, and you should be able to upfront explain, okay, this is how the process is going to work, this is what you can expect, and this is what we're going to expect from you. And when you get good enough at it, you're actually going to be able to foresee all the questions. I mean, the more questions that you can foresee and have a good answer to up front, the better. And that comes with experience as well. The better you know your customer, the easier it will be for you to know what their needs are going to be and what desires they're going to have. And that is not just useful for you at the business planning level, because that means that you can very effectively, the good part there is that you can very effectively create a roadmap of all the things that need to happen and have really useful discussions about how to achieve all of that. And, you know, that gives you a very good holistic picture of how the project is going to play out, right? But at the code level, it's also very useful, because what you're in essence going to be able to do is that you're going to be able to start working on your features and know your customer well enough to know that, all right, I can cut corners here because this is very likely going to not be all that important. But there are certain areas within the code there where I really, really need to make this right and really take the time to plan this out very carefully, because these are the risk areas where we will have stability issues or whatever. Because I mean, you're always optimizing for something. Either you're optimizing for speed and time to market, you're optimizing for stability, or you're going really heavy on the UI or something of this nature. So knowing your customer and what they actually really are interested in, because I mean, it doesn't matter if you have high test coverage if your customer is a small company who's trying to sell something visual. Then they care about the UX. That's, you know, and understanding these differences is the important thing. Nobody cares about, you know, they don't necessarily care about quality. What they care about is the user experience, or the reverse. Say that you're working with a bank or you're working with a very conservative organization of some sort, then stability and security are very high up on the agenda, security audits and all of that good stuff, while the UX can actually be kind of low, like the quality in that region, you may be able to actually cut some corners there. So what I want you to take away from this is that it is absolutely, and it is extremely common, especially when you work with agencies and consultancies and stuff of this nature, that, you know, the customer is dissatisfied with the product that you deliver. In order for you to fix this, the best possible way for you to solve that issue is to really know your customer, to have experienced developers working in your company who have the years and the understanding and this holistic mindset, who understand the entire process of delivering a project, because it's not just about writing code, it is about asking the right questions of the customer and truly understanding their needs before you start working. Because when you do, you can actually create a project that is like a product of some sort that is very well fitted or tailored, if you will, to the needs of that company. And it should, that's the thing you're going for. It's you know, you're not building stuff for yourself, you're building it for somebody else. And if you understand what that other person or that organization is after, and you build that exact thing, that's when you're going to have a truly satisfied customer. Have a great day.